Welcome back, guys. So today I want to talk about a movie that is considered one of the best movies of all time that I have never seen, and I feel like the reason why is because for a long time it crippled me because of the runtime. This movie was 4 hours long, so I watched half of it and then kind of took a break for a little bit and then watched the second half of it. But the movie Gone with the Wind is one of those movies that I've never seen before. Never. I knew what it is and I know what happens in it, but I've never watched it in full. And as a lover of film, I felt like this is a long-awaited thing I should have done a while ago, because watching this movie, the only thing I have that's not going for it is that this is not a rewatchable movie for me at all. Like, I think that it is not rewatchable, in my opinion. Like, there's people who can watch this a lot, but in terms of a movie, in terms of filmmaking, in terms of a movie that has stood the test of time, and in terms of a movie that has given us things that have been adapted into film later and has been a big influence on film, this is an incredible film in that aspect. It's just not very rewatchable for me. But watching this, I thought that this was, for a 4-hour movie, this really felt like, and really defined the term epic, because this movie is about this character, Scarlett O'Hara, who's in love with this character named Ashley, who she cannot get, while it's the eve of the Civil War at the beginning of the movie, of the Civil War starting, and then it's the beginning of the Civil War, the actual Civil War, and then after the Civil War with everything that comes after the war and everything that comes after it, in a way where these characters encounter love, loss, and they have a way of gaining everything and losing everything. And I think that this movie did a beautiful job of that, where these characters, especially the main character, Scarlett O'Hara, her character is a horrible person at the beginning of the movie. All she wants to do is fall in love with this guy, or to marry this guy named Ashley, who's getting married to somebody else and literally just announced it. But she's just a bratty character and wants to be married to him no matter what. And throughout this movie, she struggles with wanting to have him, even though he's got a wife. So I really like the fact that this character is a horrible person at the beginning of the movie. Like, she's so bratty, and she just wants this guy. But as she encounters war, literal war, going through battlefields, raising kids, having a husband, another guy as her husband, Captain Butler, who at the beginning of the movie is just there all the time, like randomly, and then because he likes to see Scarlett, and then they get married. But I really like this character's progression and arc throughout, like the way that she starts out as this really bratty character, and then as the movie ends on a note where it's like not completely bittersweet, but it's like it's a weird ending where I did enjoy it, but I was just like, I don't know what to define what this character has changed into, but I like that it didn't give me that full answer. So I like that a lot. And I really liked the scope of this movie. I like the epicness of this movie in terms of visually pleasing. Like, the picture alone on the DVD cover, like that scene of like them out with the sun setting with them in shadow, is one of the most iconic moments, I think, in film. And watching this movie, like that moment at the beginning of the movie, and at that moment at the very last shot of the movie, which I guess isn't a spoiler, but it's a shot of a character looking out like that into the sunset with them in shadow. It really is a moving and an incredibly moving image, and I feel like this might be the first time it was ever done, because in 1939, I don't know if they had any other similar shots just like that, and I feel like movies have replicated that, but this is the true, like, best one in terms of that shot. Like, visually pleasing. The cinematography in this movie is incredible. The sets are great. It really feels like you're in 1861. It really feels like you're going through war, into the Civil War, and it feels like, with these characters, how real they are. Even though their acting is more, I guess you could say, dated by today's standards, it's not like it's not bad in any way. It's just one of the it's just acting where it's different in a way that people interpret acting now. Like some people will call it bad. I don't call it that at all. I think that it's just acting that's different. It's not it's more I don't want to say this as an insult, but it's more hokey than like realistic acting. Like it has to be acting like this in the 1930s. They made it to where it felt like it was kind of not over the top, but you know what I mean. Like it felt like it was more like these characters were the way they performed was in a way where it felt like they had their own identity to these characters. If that makes any sense. But in terms of visual scope, in terms of epicness, in terms of character development, I thought that this is truly a fantastic movie, and I can see why so many people consider this one of the best movies of all time. The only thing I've got that I dislike about it is just that it's not rewatchable. It's definitely not a rewatchable movie, but in terms of one of the greatest movies ever, I can see why people think this is. And I was really blown away by a lot of things about this movie, and I really did think this was a great movie. So I really enjoyed Gone with the Wind, and I'm glad I finally saw it, because as a lover of film, I really am ashamed I haven't seen this. So tell me down below what you think of Gone with the Wind, and thank you guys so much for watching.